Hi, welcome back to Salt and Burn This, a supernatural rewatch podcast. I'm Sammy.
I'm Valerie.
Welcome back. I just want to give a quick shout out to, he's probably like way healed by now, but Jared Padalecki was in a little bitty car accident not too long ago.
Gosh, little bitty indeed.
I know he's resting and I know he's fine, and I know he doesn't listen, but we love you, Jared.
Yes.
Feel better soon.
Feel better soon. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine. I've picked up little details here and there about the severity of the accident and the fact that he walked away and that there were no fatalities in the accident. It's amazing.
Right. Because I think it was like the last time we were recording, or, we were at least talking to each other, and like I caught on Twitter, that he had announced.
Missed a con, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, sorry guys, I'm not going to be able to go to the con. And then Misha had written back like, we love you. So it was like, what's going on?
What's going on? Yeah,
and then it was like a day later, it was like, oh God.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Everyone's first thought was that his depression was back. And, so everyone's being super supportive about that. I think it was Jensen at the con said, he was the one who broke it, that he was in a car accident.
Yeah.
And yikes. So speaking of car accident, I just drove back from Wisconsin. I did not get in a car accident.
Oh, okay. You can't lead with that.
But I came very close.
Yeah.
I don't know on what freeway I was on, and I was somewhere between Ohio and West Virginia. I was in the left-hand lane of a 5-lane highway, and a deer came from the far right of me and ran across all 5 lanes and looked at me, stopped in my lane and looked at me for just the longest, just enough time for me to recognize that there's now a deer in front of me, for me to hit the brakes, hit the horn. Yeah. And I was able to swerve slightly out of my lane to just miss shaving hairs off that deer's butt.
Oh boy.
I was so close to murdering a deer with my car.
Oh God.
And it was it's funny because I was right on the edge of thinking it's time for me to pull off and stretch my legs type of thing. Well, after that adrenaline shot, I'm like, I can go for another 2 hours. I am so ready to go. And I saw all the cars behind me all hit their brakes, and they were just. And I was like, oh my God, I don't even know what happened to the deer after that, whether it tried to jump the divider and go the other side of the freeway,
right,
or what. But I was, oh my gosh, almost murdered a deer.
Have you ever hit a deer?
No. I think the only thing I've ever hit is a possum, and that was hard enough for me psychologically. I can't imagine totaling my car with a deer.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've been in a car accident with a deer. Once where I was the passenger and once where I was the driver, and it feels like driving straight into a wall.
A wall.
It's crazy how much
how solid
impact, this animal can have, and it's very sad and heartbreaking when you see the deer on the side of the road, especially because we were both in Kansas. No, this is in Kansas and Ohio, respectively. When other people pull off to the side, is like, oh, are you gonna use that? Meaning the deer.
Oh God.
No, I'm not.
Oh, I'm glad it could give you venison for.
Yeah. I have literally seen some guys come back, they pulled off to the side in a car and said, hey, is that, you want that? I'm like,
dibs?
Nope,
yeah,
absolutely not. Drove away, and then they came back in a truck with more guys, and then lifted up this dead animal into their truck.
Well,
I was like, I mean, I guess it's better than shooting it for sport.
I guess. I was like.
Season 3, Episode 7, Fresh Blood. Gordon Walker escapes from prison, intent on killing Sam. A run-in with a vampire leaves Gordon one of the undead, and an even more formidable foe. Written by Sarah Gamble and directed by Kim Manners, which probably explains why it got so dark.
It got so dark. and gritty and well done. I'm a little bummed out that the disclaimer that the description forecasted
I know.
Gordon being changed, because I didn't read that, and watching it I was like, oh no, as it was happening. So I'm glad I didn't know that it was happening.
For the first time, I'm sure it would have been like, what? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I definitely remembered this twist this angle.
Okay, I didn't remember this. I just knew that Gordon's a badass, whether he's the Walking Dead or not. It's and he played it, man.
He is just like the perfect actor for this role, particularly in this one.
Yeah. There's some nuances that I want to talk about when we get to them. I was like, God, this guy.
Yeah.
This guy. Because I hate to say it, but your heart bleeds for him in certain moments of this episode. As much as he wants to kill Sam, and you're like, no, you can't kill Sam. It's like his journey is like, oh God.
Yeah.
So
all right. So in our recap, then evil sons of bitches, Bella, she's a great thief. Gordon scenes, obviously, and Kubrick, joining the path of, or the mission of Sam is evil.
Yes.
So one can surmise this is a Gordon episode, and Bella's probably going to show up at some point.
What?
And the now, Bella is there.
By that awesome train bridge structure that I love.
Yes, I put by that bridge underlined.
Yes. The license plate on her car says New York. We never see a Chiron in this episode, but we do see another car later in the episode that also has New York plates. So I'm assuming maybe this takes place in New York. So we do see Bella, and she is confronted by Gordon. Like out of the woods, boom, Gordon Walker, which in and of itself would probably make me poop, just because he's so freaking scary.
He is. He's
just so intense. And to her credit, she doesn't even flinch. She is so secure.
For a little bit, yeah.
In a second, you see a flicker of oh shit on her face, but she hides it super quick.
She does, yes, because she's, she plays the like, do I know you? What's going on? And when he gives her his name, that's when you see like a legitimate fear of like, oh shit.
But then she masks it right away,
very quickly.
She masks it right away and pretends to like reach in her car for something very nonchalantly. And Gordon's like, oh, you looking for your gun? And he just happens to have it in his hand. So now she realizes that she could potentially be in trouble, because not only is it Gordon Walker, who is a badass hunter, escaped from prison, now she's completely unarmed.
Yes. And he is, as he threatens her shortly after, once he demands to know where the Winchesters are. Because he knows that she's been with them. And then even at gunpoint, even at his, it's not just gunpoint, it's his gunpoint.
Yeah. Twice he threatens to just kill her.
Yeah.
Straight out. And she very ballsily, says, if you kill me, you're not going to find Sam and Dean, which is what he's ultimately after, because he knows that she was just with them. Yeah. And I'm thinking, when she said that, I was like, yeah, but he found you. Yeah, so what makes you think he can't just find Sam and Dean?
I thought the same. I mean? It's like, I feel like he would be able to find them eventually.
Eventually, maybe not as quick, but he plays the game. He's like, all right, what's it going to take for you to tell me where Sam and Dean are? And she says, he names a price, and she laughs at how much money he was offering her. But she notices that he just happens to have this, was it Greeby? Oh, a mojo bag. Basically a hoodoo sack that's used for holding like a magic item or a prayer in a bag type of thing. My question is, why does Gordon have this? Like, was he just playing her this whole time?
Yes.
Like, that's what I was thinking, that he knew who she was. So I think he just had that on him to persuade her. Because why else would he have it?
No, I didn't think that. I don't think that at all.
Okay.
I think that
it was just a device that the writers
creative
used.
team put it on him,
Okay.
and that was a thing that he carried. That's his little whoopee,
His
you know,
mojo
maybe.
bag.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
she's stuck on that. When she spots it, she's like, nope, that's what I want.
That's what I want.
Don't need money. I want that because that will bring
priceless
me even more money. And the second he hands it over, because at first he hesitates, he says absolutely not, but then, you know, the pull of knowing where Sam is just too strong. And he hands it over, and immediately she picks up the phone and calls Dean.
And is like, hey, Dean, where are you? What's going on?
Rats them out.
No hesitation.
Yeah.
Even knowing who he is.
Yeah. And not even giving them a code, you know, word or a heads up or anything.
No warning that he's coming after. Nope.
Fuck. What was the code word that we learned last season? Poughkeepsie? No.
No. They haven't done Poughkeepsie yet.
They haven't done Poughkeepsie
Poughkeepsie's later. No. It's like Knight Rider or.
Oh shit.
Oh no! It was when he was on the roof with.
Yes, with the gun.
Oh, Sammy, what do we do?
I have to look it up. It's just gonna stick in my head. Funky Town.
Funky Town.
Everything is Funky Town.
Yes. Nope.
She couldn't even give him a Funky Town.
Nope.
Not that she knows their little language, but whatever, you know.
She couldn't give him like a reference to Red Sky,
Yeah.
Like, hey, I found the hand.
Yeah.
Or watch out for Mrs. Grabby Hands or whatever her name was.
I know. So not cool, Bella. Not cool.
Nope. So she calls Dean, gives them up to Gordon, title splash. So next thing we see is Sam and Dean on like a side street or a dark alley.
Yeah, they're not in the car.
They are not in the car. They are on the hunt on foot with their flashlights.
Yes. I was very happy.
And they see like a pool of blood and are like, aha, go towards the pool of blood, and they find this guy like laying next to a dumpster with like a giant hole bitten in his neck. And Sam immediately goes into like bedside Sam. He's like, It's going to be okay. We're here to help you. In the meantime, Dean is like, where is she?
Yes.
He is all business. He's all hunter.
Yeah.
Where I'm not here to help you. I'm here to find the chick who did this.
So we catch them in the middle of a hunt. They've already they're in pursuit of something. They already know what it is. And shortly after, when Dean goes off to find, she kind of comes across like a trio fork in the road, so to speak, decides to use himself as bait by slicing open his arm and letting the blood drip down, therefore drawing her out. Oh, it's a cute little blonde vampire. Named
Bloody
Harmony.
face. Oh, poor typecasting. Oh, poor Mercedes McNabb.
But you know what? She like said this in an interview. She was like, I was a little worried, but she had worked with Kim Manners before in something called Adventures of Briscoe County Jr., which I've never heard of before, but that's how she landed this job, I'm guessing. She's like, I enjoyed working with him so much that I decided, okay. And it's a little bit different because, as we find out later, he does catch her, inject her with dead man's blood, and then she wakes up in surrounded by mattresses, tied to a chair. And as they are interrogating her, she's not aware of what she is or what happened.
Right. She was tricked into it. Yeah.
Yes. So that was kind of Mercedes's process of like, okay,
it's okay to be a vampire again. Yes. Harmony from Buffy and Angel.
Yes.
And she was a little ditzy. So it was kind of, when I saw her again, I was like, is this Harmony? I mean, she wasn't ditzy. She was just really confused. I mean, she thought she'd been roofied. So she was really confused about. So it wasn't that she was ditzy. She was just like, no, really, somebody help me, please. I don't know what's going on. Yeah,
I'm still high. I can't come down from this drug that this guy gave me. He put it in my drink, and everything is really intense. Like sights, smells, sounds. I can hear someone's heart beating from half a mile away.
Yep.
But it's like it's still going. I can't come down.
Yeah.
And at first the boys are treating her like, oh, haha, very funny, nice try.
Right?
But then they're like, oh, well, crap, she actually doesn't know.
Yeah, and you can see it like Sam's concerned, like he's starting to have like it's like he was being sympathetic. Like you can see it on his
Yeah.
face. He's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Whereas Dean was also like, oh no, but also still grilling her. Like, oh yeah, really?
Yeah.
Well, you know, there's this, there's that, and we followed a body, you know, trail of bodies.
Yeah.
You know, a sloppy trail of bodies that you've
Right,
left
but she thinks that
behind.
she was hallucinating. You know, she's like, no, that wasn't real. That wasn't
Bad
real. I just
dream.
need help. I just need, you know, fluids, you know?
Right. So I loved this. Dean is still the hard side of, you know, interrogation. And he leans in, he's like, listen, Wavy Gravy. And I had to look that up because he calls her Wavy Gravy. And a very pointed thing to call somebody. And it wasn't just because of her blonde, wavy hair. Did you look up who Wavy Gravy is?
No, I thought it was because of her blonde wavy hair.
Wavy Gravy was this like hippie icon. He kind of became known as, well, his name was Hugh Romney, and BB King actually gave him the moniker of Wavy Gravy.
Oh.
He and his group of, you know, merry men essentially were at Woodstock, and they were asked to be the like security for Woodstock. And instead of being the security, they called themselves the Please people, Please, please. And they set up like a tent for people who are having like bad trips. They helped feed people once the rainstorm started and people were just trapped at Woodstock. They were able to like literally hand out food to make sure that people were being sustained. And so the Wavy Gravy and the whole like bad trip is a very specific reference. But yeah, he helped people at Woodstock who were, you know, who needed help. But then he also became like, he was kind of a clown. He also literally dressed up as a clown and did anything to do like outreach and help people. So Wavy Gravy, help people out of bad trips, thus the reference in this moment.
Another very specific reference. Okay.
She explains her side of things, which is, I was at a club and this guy, you know, he was supposed to give me a new drug. And now suddenly, you know, I woke up in this room and I was starving and I was so hungry that I couldn't wait for this guy. And I burst out of the room. And that's all she really remembers.
Yeah.
You know, she doesn't remember fully that she
like killed a bunch of people and
feasted on people. Yeah.
So the boys like pull themselves aside and they feel bad for her because this is unlike their usual monster hunts where, you know, the monster knows that they're a monster and they're very purposefully doing something. But here she was like against her will, against her consent, turned into something, and unknowingly too.
Like,
well,
yeah,
this
but that
sucks.
doesn't change. Yeah.
Because we still need to, you know,
there's no cure. You're right.
Yeah.
And even Sam is like, yeah, she's got to go.
Yeah.
So, but Dean takes, you know, Dean's the one who does it. You know, he walks back into the room, cuts her head off. Luckily, we don't see it, but the audio of it was enough.
Hear her scream
for me. You hear the swing and the thud of her head hitting the ground. It's like, okay, didn't need to see it.
Bye, Harmony. So now we're at a hospital that has the guy that they found earlier. He's alive. The victim. He's being healed. Gordon and Kubrick come in. As their suits, agents, whatever the hell they are.
They're FBI agents.
Coming to interrogate him. They grill him on whether he ingested any of the blood, you know, from this woman during the attack. Yeah. Because she has a virus. The victim is like, oh, but she bit me. And Kubrick is like, no, it's blood transfusion only, you know, that's the only way you can get infected.
He's like, whew. Phew, that's good. And Gordon's like, well, it is good because otherwise we would have had to kill you. And the guy in the bed is like, ha, ha, ha. Nothing. Complete stone slate from Gordon.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Yeah.
I mean, we say bedside manner from Sam. Gordon is 180. He's even worse than Dean.
Right?
But Dean is getting better. He's getting a little better, but
and then Gordon's like right back in it. He's like, again, the attack. Can you go back and tell us what details, please? you know, and he's like, what do you remember? And he describes everything, like, and then, you know, these two guys like rescued me, rushed, you know, chased her off. Oh, two guys, what they look like? I don't know, but one was tall. And I'm like, boom, now we start seeing Sam being recognized as tall.
As the tall one, yes.
As the tall one. And this is going to start following him.
I know, for the rest of his life.
For the rest of his life. So Sam and Dean are now at the club that Harmony / Lucy described herself as finding this dealer guy at.
Yes.
And they're looking for the guy that she described as the dealer. She said he was old. He was 30.
Yes.
which cracked me up. Yes. And they see this guy. They didn't find anything inside, but they see somebody leading a blonde into the alleyway outside of the club. And they're like, this could probably be the guy. And of course it is the guy. And he's like getting ready to drop some blood into this blonde's mouth. Like, this will be the best thing you've ever experienced. And she's like, all right. And just before the blood drops in her mouth, Sam and Dean bum rush them, save the girl, run, and then, you know, start to beat up the drug dealer guy, who unfortunately does get the upper hand. Dean and Sam now go running off after Dixon.
Yeah, Dean is acting like a teenage boy in this, and that he thinks he is invincible, because this is one of many times throughout this episode that he's just like, I got it, we'll just go for it, like running straight into the fire. Right. Or like throwing his machete down and waiting for Harmony Vampire to leap on him so that he can inject her with the exactly you know, the dead man's blood at the very last second. But yes, same thing. They go running after drug dealer guy, but instead of finding him, they're confronted by Gordon and Kubrick in one of the scariest entrances. I mean, scariest entrances and commercial break cut off scenes, you know. It's just like Gordon storming towards them, bringing up a gun, and then blackout. Right. He's so good at this. He is so good at this. It's just, perfect. Out of the commercial break, it's now everything's erupted into gunfire. So Gordon and Kubrick are just shooting at Sam and Dean, and they've got them cornered in the alley. And Dean again at the last second is like, you know, I'll run at him, you know, you run off. Like, I'll take the fire and you run off. And Sam's like, wait, no. Of course, Dean is gone. Yeah, jumps over cars and goes running off, hoping to draw fire away from Sam. Kubrick chases after Dean, but Gordon does not. Gordon stays behind. Is laser focused on Sam. He doesn't even like look behind at Kubrick to see if he's okay, or, you know, it's just, oh, you got him, okay, cool, great. He is after Sam and laser focused. That's perfect. He's so much laser focused on Dean that he doesn't notice Dixon coming from above him to like jump him like a spider monkey, and and like knocks him out. So he's totally blindsided by Dixon. Sam's gone. We don't know where Sam is, but he drifted off some more, because Gordon does come around to the corner where Sam was, you know, ducking down, hiding, not there. But it's what, like, Sam, his mission to get Sam, it was his downfall in the end, because he was Achilles not on guard, so to speak. And Dixon was able to knock him out. And so the next thing we see is back at the motel. Now it's Sam alone in the motel. I put at the motel, because it is a motel room, but this is barricade with the mattresses. Because at first I thought they were in like a factory or a warehouse of mattresses, and it wasn't until this scene I was like, oh wait, this is inside of a motel room. Yeah, you can see like there's the square on the floor, like the dirty square where the bed used to be, where so they didn't just take mattresses, like the bed frames are gone. It's like maybe they're just in, who cares? It's not they might a room be squatting again. Exactly. They didn't pay for this room. No. This is, you know, but so Sam is there pacing, basically waiting for Dean to show up, because he doesn't know what happened to Dean after he ran off. And then Dean kind of swags in like, hey, you know, here we are. And Sam's like, what the hell? You know, where have you been? And Dean's being very laissez-faire, still, you know, very nonchalant about
the chances he's taking with his life,
Yes.
and not checking back in with Sam. He's like, oh, I stopped to
Right.
get a slice. It's like, what? You know, you didn't call me right away to say that you were okay. You didn't check to see if I was okay. You know,
Yeah, it's a mixture of like laissez-faire, but also adrenaline fueled, I think, because
Yeah.
he does have that kind of frantic energy about him, just a little bit, you know, like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, sorry, man, I have to get a slice.
Yeah. And I need to kind of come down from this.
Yes.
And after they are done kind of bickering at each other, they're like, well, how the hell did Gordon find us?
Yeah.
You know, and Dean puts it together. Only, you know, it was Bella. She called me.
Then he shows up.
And then Gordon shows up. And so he calls Bella, threatens to kill her, which I can't blame him. And
No.
he even says, like, if you think I'm kidding, listen to the tone of my voice. I'm like, if the tone of his voice didn't give it away, the underscoring music that played after he said that would have been a dead giveaway, because it was like dun dun.
I know.
Completely sinister, serious music.
Yes, because she's being her usual like flippant, flirty, condescending, slightly self, you know, like, oh, I didn't think it would be a big deal. There's only one of him. There's two of you. And then like once he's like, no, I'm gonna kill you, and that's when she starts to take it seriously. He's like, oh shit. Like I was scared of Gordon, but I'm even more scared of Dean when he's not on my side.
Yes, exactly.
The two of them together, honestly.
Yep. You know, I'm gonna kill you. Click.
Yeah. So now we're in a warehouse
like an abandoned warehouse or something.
Something. Yeah. Gordon's tied down
to a metal bed spring. I thought he was going to start getting electrocuted just because it was like all the metal springs and stuff. But no. So he's tied to.
He could have used one of the mattresses that's at the motel.
Oh my gosh, there's so many mattresses in this episode. What were the writers trying to tell us? Did we, we looked up the symbolism of frogs. Why not?
We shouldn't have
symbolisms of mattresses. I think we missed a step here, Sam. We could have done some deep diving. But so not only is Gordon tied to a bed, but there's like two blonde chicks who are strung up from the ceiling, like they're hung by their arms. And Dixon is there, and he's like feeding them glasses of blood, and they are eagerly drinking them, like lapping them up. And he's like, this will just hold you for now, And turns out Dixon knows Gordon. And he or at least he knows who Gordon is.
Yeah, like he knows he's a hunter.
Knows he's a hunter and is responsible for many, many deaths of many, many vampires. And so he's kind of holding Gordon responsible.
Right. Well, he talks about his family, which is from, hundreds of years ago. He shows a photo, from
very old.
I don't know, like the 1900s or something like that. I'm
bad
at placing.
Daughter.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. It's a very, very, very old photo.
It's one of those like sepia toned.
Yes, like a daguerreotype.
Yes. Yes, calls his daughter. And he blames another hunter for killing that family of his. So now he has to create a new family.
Right. I love that Gordon's like, oh, you mean fang whores? It's not your family that you're creating. You're creating monsters.
No.
You guys aren't even sewer rats. Like sewer rats have more humanity and family than you do.
And oddly enough, I felt for Dixon in this because you could kind of tell like Gordon's like barrage of insults are actually getting to him.
Yep.
Because like not only has he suffered, being alone for centuries, and why did it take him so long to make a new family? Anyway, so he's suffering.
Good question.
Suffering through the pain of being lonely for so long, or maybe he's like Louis from the Anne Rice novels. I maybe you may be not familiar with those.
I didn't read them. I know. Interview with the Vampire. I know the books.
Okay, so the Brad Pitt character.
Yeah.
He kind of tends to be like the loner vampire who's a little bit regretful of being a vampire, but still, yeah. Maybe he's a little bit of that. Maybe he was trying to channel a little bit of Brad Pitt a la Anne Rice.
Or Lost Boys, which if you haven't seen yet, you should.
I have seen it, not for a long time ago, but
because there was a little boy, there was like a little brother who was a vampire that everybody like protected.
So
my
anyway,
question
I
was,
got on
vampires
a
have
whole
families.
diatribe of that. Yeah.
That's okay.
So yeah, I was saying that I kind of felt for Dixon in this because he was just like sad at losing his family a long time ago, being alone for so long, and then like having to suffer through Gordon's, disdain for
Insults.
his breed,
For his existence.
people.
Yes, yes, exactly.
So he turns from his original plan of,
which was killing Dixon. I'm killing Gordon.
Yeah, to feed him to his new daughters. To, you know what? I've got something worse in mind for you.
I'm gonna torture you.
Yes, like the worst torture you could ever possibly imagine for Gordon.
Yeah, this was amazing. This was brilliant writing, and oh my gosh. So Dixon, in the moment, changes his mind, cuts his arm, cuts Gordon's arm, and Gordon sees this happening, and he knows what's going to happen as it's slowly happening. And Dixon takes his cut arm and meshes it with Gordon's cut arm, and Gordon is screaming, no, because he's being turned into the filth that he has been hunting. Like he said, it's vermin, it's disease.
Yes,
it's
that's
not
what
that
I wrote down. I was just like,
vampire.
he is spreading his disease to Gordon.
That's just imagine somebody sick and intentionally infecting you.
Yeah.
With not just like a disease, but a vile disease.
Yes. An incurable disease.
Yes. Incurable, but also just the worst thing that could happen to Gordon.
Yeah.
The acting, the look on his face, on Gordon's face, and also a little bit of glee on Dixon. Not like woohoo, but like he has a plan now. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. You hate me? Guess what? You're gonna hate yourself so much more after I do this. Oh God. For me, in the moment of recognizing what he was just about to do, and then I recognize it, then seeing the recognition on Gordon's face, I was like, oh my God. Amazing writing and amazing filmmaking right there.
Yeah, Sterling did a really good job with his scream, because it wasn't just any scream. It was like a tortured, pleading scream. Yeah. So we leave Gordon with that. And then we go back to this motel.
The mattress motel. And Sam and Dean have come to the agreement that they have to kill Gordon. First and foremost, whatever vampire hunting aside, they have to kill Gordon. First things first. And Dean is like, really?
Yeah, like Dean was like ready to like make his case.
We got to kill Gordon.
There's something we need to do. I know we've been
putting it off
about
humans.
Yes, and I like even his just like, oh, but he's human. It's wrong. He does this whole like Sam mockery.
Right, but Sam isn't. He's like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. He won't stop until he kills me, or he's dead. Yeah. So, bottom line, he's got to die. And I wasn't shocked by that. I wasn't like, ooh, dark side Sam. It was just very pragmatic of Sam.
Yeah.
In order for me to live, he has to die, because he just wants to kill me, and he's going to keep trying until he succeeds. Right,
because he's tried before. They let him live twice in the past couple of interactions they've had with him. And it's just gotten more and more and more intense. Like Gordon tried to blow him up, with a tripwire. A grenade, a booby trap, grenades. A literal booby trap.
Yep. And then tried to shoot him dead.
Yes.
All the guns, bang, bang, bang. Mm-hmm. Nope, that didn't work.
Yeah, putting him in prison didn't work.
Tried to sniper kill him with what's her butt. When they were in the motel. Yeah. So again, Gordon, not the greatest shot in the world.
Neither was Kubrick.
Right? There's a lot of gunfire and not a lot of
like if I were going to hunter school, I would not want to be trained under the people that trained them.
Right. Bella calls Dean and Sam, and as her mea culpa, like please don't kill me, because I found Gordon. I know where Gordon is. I talked on a spirit finding board, the Ouija board.
Yeah.
And not only did they tell me exactly where Gordon is, they also said, to go the other way. Like, don't follow Gordon. This is, run as fast as you can, basically. Yeah. And she thinks that squares her with Sam and Dean. You know, she's like, job done. Yay, you know, click, end of Bella.
Yeah.
You know,
for this episode.
She's like, I think we're square now. So I wrote down, the next thing I wrote was, loved this scene. What's coming up.
Yeah.
It's like all time kind of stopped and slowed. Like all the forward momentum of this episode stopped for me. And because where this next scene picks up is Gordon in the warehouse. Now he's no longer strapped to the bed. He's now hanged by his hands by a chain from the ceiling, like the blonde girls are. And the color tones have changed. I wrote down dark, cold, and wet, but not like blue cold, like more of a...
It was more green.
A severity. There's a very severe look about this look, about the saturation of this scene. Yeah, it is green. There's definitely a green, but there's a hardness to the cinematography that I was like, ooh. You know, it wasn't when I say cold, I don't mean like burr cold, but like lack of hope.
Sure.
There was just a severity about the look of this scene. So Gordon wakes up being strung up from the ceiling, and it looks like he's not only just waking up, but it looks like he's been beaten a little bit. You know, he probably fought, you know, and struggled a little bit against the chains. There's like this audio. The audio is kind of this metallic driving pulse that's happening under the scene as Gordon's coming awake and realizing his surroundings. And as he's looking around these surroundings and noticing that he's, you know, tied to the ceiling or chained to the ceiling, he sees the blonde girls are still there, chained to the ceiling. And there's this sound. At first I thought was a pulse, because it wasn't a heartbeat. It just was like this metallic pulsing stuff. And it turns out it's not the pulse, but it was a pocket watch. He could hear that the ticking of this pocket watch was so intense and so loud in his ears. And as he's looking around, he sees the watch, he realizes what the sound is. And at the same time, the sunlight starts to shine in through one of the windows.
So it's like, what's happening here? This is the first time that we get to see from a vampire's point of view. Or from like the monster's point of view.
They're awakening. Yeah.
Yeah. How much the sights and the sounds are so overwhelming.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's hysterical. That's timing. That was brilliant timing, by the way.
I know. So it's kind of like if you're really hungover, you know, or have a migraine, and it's just like any kind of light source is just too much. That times 150, you know, it just like bleeds out into your brain.
Yeah, it's not your stereotypical skin sizzling burning of a vampire in a vampire TV show. It's just an intensity that you just can't handle.
And he can't bear it anymore, so he uses all of his newfound vampire strength to break the chains down.
And there's no Dixon anywhere. There's like Dixon isn't there. It's just the two blonde
he's
girls.
Off to find, I guess, another victim for the two chickies.
For the girls. Yeah. But it's like once he's like pulled himself free from the ceiling, it's like, what next? His eyes are starting to like turn like blood red, not demon red, but like bloody.
Yeah,
red.
They're like the rims of his eyes are bloody, and then also the irises are starting to like get those like little
like bleed. It's
cracks.
Almost like yes. And the girls notice that he's awake, and they start pleading with him, just like, you know, please help me. And that's the last we see of Gordon in the warehouse.
But then we see him like stepping outside into the street. He's just kind of like wandering around again, taking in all of these new sights and sound, this new sensation that he's feeling.
Yeah. The lights are just like searing his eyes. The sounds are deafening, like a car drives by, and it's almost unbearable.
Yeah. And then he hears a heart beating. He looks over, and there's this guy who's like broken down on the side of the road. He's fixing his tire.
with New
And
York plates.
he tries to fight it. Like he turns away, he kind of looks at himself in the reflection of a store window that's there, kind of
Yeah.
sees what he is,
Is
is
becoming.
becoming.
Literally, he sees his teeth, his vampire teeth come in. He's looking at
Yeah.
himself and he sees the teeth come in. And it's like, oh God, poor Gordon.
I
You
know. I
watching this
know.
happen. Of course, in the back of my head is, oh, a reflection.
Oh.
But vampire stories are different.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
But yeah, he
But in the
tries to
end,
fight it.
yeah, he can't help himself. And then when this guy's done fixing his tire, he gets in the car. And then there is Gordon in the back seat who viciously attacks
Like,
him
just eviscerates this man.
in a very
It's-
Gordon type of way.
It's not even like the supernatural splatter. It's like a supernatural hose of water that
Yes,
just
I know.
sprayed all the windows. I was like, holy cow.
That is a nice massive blood splatter that
Yep.
happened inside of the car.
Yep. Next thing we see is Sam and Dean at the warehouse because Bella gave them instructions on where to find Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
They don't find Gordon. They find Dixon, who's sitting on the floor, like dejected, like crying and dejected, and more like, just go ahead and kill me. What's left of my life?
Yes, because his two little chickies are now beheaded themselves. Now they're just like headless bodies hanging
still
from the ceiling.
Yeah. And Dixon goes into a bit of a monologue, like revealing his desperation. He's like, I messed up. I was so blinded by my hatred and need for revenge on Gordon that I let my guard down. I did this. I veered from my plan, and now my quote family.
I should have never brought a hunter here. I should have never done what I did. And he doesn't quite say what he did. He just kind of keeps going on. Like, I was just so lonely. I was just so desperate. Have you ever felt so desperate and done something?
Everything in my life is gone. And yes.
So this, and like, of course, he's telling this to Dean, who,
right.
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
I'm staring down eternity alone.
Yes.
Do you know what that's like? It's like, all right, mirror, mirror, we get it.
Yeah,
we get it. And then Sam kind of cuts in. He's like, psst, Dean, these girls had their heads torn off. What did you do? Gordon would have just like cut their heads off, and that's the last thing you see Sam says is like, what'd you do to Gordon?
Yeah, he just kind of realizes what Dixon had been hinting at during these little like monologue moments. So now we're
Kubrick's Jesus RV.
Yes. He's cleaning a gun or something, I think, or a knife.
Yeah, doing something huntery. Yeah. And I want to say this is another truly amazing, well-written, well-acted scene.
Yeah.
And my first question, though, in this scene, because Gordon shows up in the RV, kind of sneaks in the way
magically
vampires do.
Yeah.
He's not in vampire mode. He doesn't have the teeth or anything like that. And he's basically there saying, I didn't have any other place to go. But my question is, why did he go there? Why did he go to Kubrick? Because he admits to Kubrick that he's been turned. And Kubrick is torn by this, but he's like, you're my friend, but I still have to kill you. And you know this. You know that there is no escape for you. I have to kill you.
Yeah.
And Gordon's like, yes, but, let me do this one last thing. Let me go kill Sam, and then you can kill me, type of thing. Because now that I'm stronger and faster, I can definitely kill the Antichrist. Let me go do this. So my question is, why did he come to Kubrick in the first place?
I think that he felt so strongly about his Sam mission that he thought Kubrick also felt the same way. And he did go there to be like, I am a monster, and I will come back to you after I'm done. And then you can do what you need to do. But, I'm going to go do this. Like, you don't have to do this anymore now that I'm like Superman. Well, super vamp.
I know what you mean. I know.
But so you can lay low, but I'm going to go kill him, and then I'm going to come back so you can kill me.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to live like this. And he legitimately does believe I can do, with
both.
this curse, I can do something good.
Good. Yes, he does truly believe that. And unfortunately, Kubrick also knows the truth of the matter, which is, no, you can't,
Yeah.
and I have to kill you.
Yeah.
And he doesn't cover that up. He's like, well, okay, all right. So you think you're gonna go get Sam? All right. And in the meantime, he's grabbed a knife, thinking he's just gonna go ahead and kill.
Well, he does
Gordon.
kind of cover it up. He's like saying what he's saying is not matching what he's doing, right? So he's
Right.
like,
Mhm.
yeah, of course, sure, you can go out there and do one last good thing.
Yep.
Yeah, just you can totally go kill
Yep.
Sam. And while he's saying this, he's like grabbing his little machete thing and like inching towards him.
At the same time, though, suddenly Gordon starts to hear the heartbeat again.
Yeah, because
He
now
starts-
Kubrick's pulse is quickening.
Yeah, and he hears it. He hears the pulse, the boom, 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 boom,
Yeah,
boom,
yeah.
and the teeth come in, and he I called it his spidey sense, which I didn't mean to do, but it's like he knows, and he's able to turn around and literally tear Kubrick's heart from his chest
yeah.
before Kubrick can even get a blade in.
Mm-hmm.
And the look of shock and disappointment on Kubrick's face is like, oh God. And even Gordon is like, he even says sorry. And he doesn't say it ironically. He's truly sorry.
Yeah.
So there's like the humanity part of Gordon still overpowers the vampire monster side of him.
A little bit, but the vampire monster side of him
Killed
put
him.
his hand through Kubrick's heart,
through his chest,
so.
pulled out his beating heart.
Yeah.
But he was still able to say, I'm sorry. So he still has a little bit of humanity, even though he's got a still beating heart in his hand. I don't know. I felt bad for the both of them.
Yeah.
I felt bad for the both of them.
I
mean, they clearly weren't the best of friends, because of the Jesus freak side of Kubrick that, Gordon tolerated as opposed to embraced.
Yeah. That's funny because there was actually an interview with them too, or I was like reading up. They both Sterling and Michael Massey were like, how did these two end up together?
Right.
So they kind of like created a story within themselves, like, oh, maybe Gordon saved Kubrick's life at some point, so now Kubrick is just like, oh no, he is a good guy. So he was there for me in this time of need. So they had their own little backstory as characters because they did both realize, why are these two hanging out together?
Yeah, exactly. Especially in the Jesus trailer. Yeah.
Right.
I loved the scene. I mean, I love the scene, even knowing that it was, it didn't feel forced. It felt like, two men who needed each other, relied on each other for certain things, and then were both betrayed at the same time, by each other.
Yeah.
Well done. Well acted. Mm-hmm. And the pain on Gordon's face of not just killing Kubrick, but just the pain of the vampireness of him. I mean, because now his eyes are just like red, like red bleeding. Yeah. Back at the motel, the mattress motel. The boys are destroying their phones.
Yes, because they still haven't found Gordon yet, but they know how resourceful he is. So like, okay, he can track cell signals. Let's just get rid of the phones.
Yep.
We can, hide our scent with that little concoction that we learned from Dad, in season 1. But Dean is just like, no, you know what? You'll stay here, and I'll just go find him. I'll just go kill him. Takes out the Colt, starts loading it. And this is like Sam finally is like putting his foot down. He's like, okay, this is enough. Enough of your act.
Enough of the kamikaze. I'm just going to go do it.
Enough of your punchlines to everything. Tired of it. Because I can see through it. This is your
stop
act.
Acting like you're not afraid.
Yes, because you are. This is what you do when you're afraid. I know because I've been around you my whole life and I looked up to you my whole life. This is like cue the brother music underneath. Where Sam is like, all I wanted was just to, be you, to be my big brother.
I don't need you to be my hero. I just need you to be my brother.
Yes. Yeah. Just so can you just? And
there's a moment where Dean actually says what? And like he actually started listening. It wasn't sarcastic. It wasn't like what? It was like, what do you need? He actually stops his charade.
Snarkiness. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and says what? And that's when Sam says, just could you just be my brother again? Just because. Just
Yeah.
because.
Yeah. And I did note, like, throughout this episode, like, up until this point, I was like, Dean is being, like, what's the word? But, yeah, punchline-y. Like, more punchy than usual.
Flippant.
Like, more with the one-liners, like, everywhere. And it's like, this is a lot of one-liners. And then here it was. I was like, oh.
Oh, it's
he's,
because...
like, really playing up the act, and he's really getting scared. And Sam is calling him out on it here. Oh, okay, okay.
No one likes to be called out on their bullshit.
Yeah.
So Sam convinces Dean to stay put instead of rushing off to go face headlong, you know, guns ablazing type of thing. Don't run into the weapons. And so they barricade themselves inside the motel with bed frames and a smudge pot, apparently.
Yes.
And so later that night, Dean's phone rings. And I love that Sam's like, you've only had your phone for like 2 hours. Who could you have given this number to? And it turns out it's Gordon. And Gordon found the numbers by going to the phone store and was able to track their numbers down that way, which just makes me think, my God, what happened in the phone store?
Oh yeah,
like,
I'm sure
who
a
did he,
massacre.
like what carnage? Yes, exactly, what carnage is left at that mobile store. But he basically says, you're gonna come to me. And Dean's like, no, not gonna happen. And then Gordon puts a girl on the phone that he has kidnapped. And she's like, please come help me, you know? And so, of course, the heroes have to go rescue
save the girl.
Right.
And,
but not before saying, Gordon, this isn't you.
Yeah.
You know, you're a hunter, you're not a killer.
No, I'm not. I'm a monster.
Yeah, using the girl as bait. So off Sam and Dean have to go rescue the damsel in distress.
Right.
And
it was just like, here's where he loses the humanity for me, because A, he went through that cell phone store doing God knows what. B, is now using an innocent girl as bait. Like his mission to get Sam is combined with his vampire-ness is
the lack of humanity. Yeah.
Yeah. And also I wrote down, I was like, there's like no feeling in him. Like there is with Dixon, where he's like literally crying there, like mourning his 2 newfound daughters that have just had their heads ripped off. Or like, and I forgot her name, but the first vampire that they all hunted to get, Tara from Buffy. I forget the character that she played in this, but you know, she was a feeling. You know, she just wanted to take care of her family too.
With the Benny guy who wasn't Benny.
Yeah, he's got no feeling in him at this. No moment.
Humanity. Yep, he just wants to kill Sam.
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter who he kills in the process. So off they head to this factory. They find the girl. She's tied up and gagged. They untie her, but she's too weak to stand. So Dean like whisks her up. And they're trying to run out of the factory with her. And I love this. Dean's like, stay close. And as soon as he says, you know, Sam, stay close, this like garage door like slams down between the two of them. I'm like, well, that's timing. And then the lights go out.
Yeah.
And I just want to say this again, a totally cool sequence, because we get to see it from the vampire side of things.
Yeah.
Like Sam is in the dark. Sam cannot see. He can't see anything. Gordon has like infrared eyesight. You know, which I thought was pretty cool. Now, I know my experiences growing up, if the power went out and the lights went out type of thing, I had this weird reflex where I would drop to the ground. Because I figured that if anything was trying to kill us, it would be still standing and it wouldn't expect me to be on the ground.
Oh, okay.
So, like, if you ever just, like, turned out the lights on me for any reason, if you turned the lights back on again, you would have found me crouched down on the ground. So, like, when the lights went out on Sam, I was like, hit the ground!
Yeah.
Like, I'm literally like, hit the ground! Those are my reflexes.
It took me a second to realize that they were going for it's complete darkness and Sam can't see. Because, of course, they had to light the scene in which we could see what's going on. He's right there. Can't you see him? You know, there's a blue cast everywhere.
Sam with his hands out going, you know, Gordon, you know,
so it took me just maybe a tad too long to realize, like, oh, he's in utter darkness.
Pitch black.
Gordon's playing with his food because Sam can't see and Gordon can.
I'm right here,
Got it.
Sam.
Okay.
Whoop, nope, not there.
Yep.
Oh man. And he's just stalking Sam and monologuing at the same time.
Yes.
So this is like
So
Gordon's
so much
opportunity.
monologuing in this episode.
There's a lot between Dixon and Gordon.
Yes.
Tons of monologuing. But you know what? I didn't mind it.
No,
Because
I
it was
didn't either,
exposition
but
that was needed.
Yeah.
But yes, it's like, oh look, they're monologuing. And Sam again tries with the Gordon, you're not a killer, you're a hunter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they both Dean and Sam have tried to convince Gordon that he's human and that he has humanity. Instead of just outright trying to kill him, they're still trying to convince him to like come back from the dark side, essentially.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Dean on the other side of the garage door, it's light on his side, by the way.
Yes.
Is like trying to bang his way out of the locked room. You know,
to get his way to Sam, or to break the barrier between them.
Yeah.
Because Gordon has hinted, is like, no, you're right. I didn't kill the girl. I just did something a lot worse. Yeah. And so then, cue Dean banging on the door, and then all of a sudden the girl, leaps up and attacks him because she vamps out.
And he's so shocked. He's so taken by surprise. Dean is. He like pulls out the Colt, which I didn't know he had on him, but he pulls it out, shoots her in the head, like right between the eyes type of thing. She dies, and he's like, "Oh, what just happened?"
Yeah,
he's like so shocked. Ooh, so almost comically. Yeah.
Thank God I had the Colt.
Dodge that bullet, so to speak. So and he seemed a little shaken by by how quickly events turned for him.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, Gordon is still saying that he knows the truth about Sam. I know that you're the Antichrist. I know that you're not human. I know, it's like Gordon is just so fixated on what he thinks he knows.
I know
about Sam.
I know. And now he's also like, we are both now the same. We're both evil. You know, I'm going to kill myself after I kill you off. You should be doing this yourself. You should kill yourself.
You should just kill yourself because I know I'm a monster. Yeah. I'm going to kill myself, but not before I kill you. But
since you won't do it yourself.
He must have really enjoyed seeing the look of, I don't want to say panic on Sam's face, but just the emotions that Sam was feeling, having all this stuff like thrown in his face. Also know that he's being hunted by Gordon.
I know.
Sneaks up on Sam and just bashes him through a wall. Bashes him through the wall where Dean is. So they're now in that same room. Knocks the machete out of Sam's hand and just proceeds to start beating him. Yeah. Dean tries to shove him off.
Yeah, he tries to shoot him. He points the Colt at him, and then Gordon smacks it out of his hand, and then shoves him up against the wall, starts beating him down,
knocks him out. Yeah,
goes for the throat. He actually lands a bite down onto Dean's neck. And to me, this was kind of this is payback for all of the fights that Dean has won against Gordon.
Finally, Gordon gets his comeuppance. Yeah, exactly. But not for long. No. But he totally takes a giant bite out of Dean, who is knocked out cold. Sam is seeing this happen, and it kind of flips a switch in him. He's like, no. So he leaps onto Gordon, grabs him, throws him off, and now a death match starts happening between Gordon and Sam. Yeah. Sam and Gordon are fighting, and they're just bashing each other back and forth, slamming them through shelving units and things like that. And Gordon at one point slams Sam up against this one shelf where there just happens to be a coil of razor wire or barbed wire. And he's able to, in this moment, wrap his hand around some rags, grabs the razor wire, and then flings himself, literally throws himself at Gordon and wraps the razor wire around Gordon's neck. And now these two are face to face with Sam pulling and strangling.
Yeah, he's basically, I don't know how to pronounce this word. Garroting. Yes, he's basically garroting Gordon with the razor wire. What an intense scene this was, because it's just them staring down at each other. Sam is slowly pulling. I think maybe he was waiting for Gordon to back down a little bit while also putting more and more pressure. And then all of a sudden,
his head popped off. I felt like Gordon welcomed that. I felt like there's a part of him that while he was struggling against Sam in that moment, just the look on his face was like, do it, just do it, you know, because it only proves his point that Sam is a killer, you know, and also it ends his, you know, his misery.
Torment.
Yeah, exactly. And I will say in this moment that Sam, while Sam was determined, you know, to end Gordon's life, I didn't see the same look on his face that I've seen in other moments where he killed, let's just say, like Jake. You know, that coldness wasn't there.
Yeah.
There wasn't desperation, but there was definitely, he had to do this. It wasn't just like, I'm just doing it because I can. He struggled, you know, it wasn't the cold, dark Sam that we've seen in the past.
Bad side Sam.
I don't think. But wow, that scene. That scene. There was some interesting cinematography during that when Gordon was kind of hunting, you know, stalking Sam.
Yeah. It was very reminiscent for me of the serial killer ghost episode, the one where Joe was in the wall.
Right.
And that guy.
It was just his face, just his mouth.
Yes.
Very
really
much
similar to that, and I liked it because they did like close-up shots of like Gordon's mouth while he's
just his
talking,
mouth, or just his eyes. You know, oh, I thought it was so. It just, because you never saw his whole face in those shots, it was just, it again, it takes away from the human part of him because you're only focused on his teeth or his mouth or the words he's saying. You know, or the just the gleam in his eyes, the death in his eyes. It was just, oh God,
it was just such a focus on all of the senses that he is now experiencing. Like his like eyesight's like crazy now, so then they focus on his eyes and the sounds and the touch. It was God, it was
so good, nice. And I'm so glad that it was something that we noticed. You know what I mean?
I will also point out that this was to date, as into like this date in the timeline of
the episodes.
This was Eric Kripke's favorite death scene, or like method of killing somebody, you know, Sam like grabbing a razor wire and somehow having superhuman strength to then like
saw somebody's head off.
Eric is just like, it doesn't make any sense, because how could Sam have the strength to cut through Gordon's head but not his own hands? You know, like the pressure would have cut through everybody. Yeah, exactly.
He was able to grab the rags.
I know it doesn't make sense, I don't care, because it was freaking awesome.
Yeah, well, not this was an amazing death, and it was a perfect ending, because he didn't just get away with a bullet. You know, the boys didn't just cut his head off. You know, it was a drawn out, horrific, painful death for the both of them. You know, Sam literally had this man's life in his hands.
Wow. Oh, you know? Very nice turn of phrase.
Thank you.
They walk away, and I like that Dean
does a little callback.
Who's the kamikaze now?
A little reckless there, don't you think? Yes, exactly. I also love, though, that when Dean comes to and he stands up, he's standing up next to a sign in the warehouse that says like 180 days since our last accident. You know, it is one of those safety signs. Like, oh my gosh, yeah, it was like safety on the work, you know, safety in the workplace, you know, 183 days since our last accident. I was like, oh yes, yay for set dressers.
Man, the factory workers are gonna have a sight to see when they go into work tomorrow.
Right. Because like Sam and Dee just like walked away. I'm like,
they leave the body in the head.
The girl with the gunshot wound and the head.
Oh yeah, that's right, the girl. I forgot about the girl.
they just walked away.
Yep.
Yeah. So the next thing we see,
in the wrap up, is the Impala. But what we see is, for the first time, is the green cooler, which has become a prop icon for Supernatural fans. Which I'll take it. Take it. You know, same as Dad's journal. Through the entire series of Supernatural, the journal has stayed the same. The pages have changed, obviously, but the actual journal itself has remained the same prop. Same thing with this cooler. This cooler turns out is what the guys
the boys keep their beers in, not what the beers
Yes.
keep the boys in. So the boys are fixing the Impala. There's been a rattle. So Dean has got his tools out and he's fixing something in the Impala. And they're not fighting.
No, they're kind of falling into what you assume is their usual roles of like Dean fixing the car and asking Sam for the tools. You know, it's like, all right, hand me this wrench, hand me the screwdriver, hand me the yada yada.
Sharing beers and Dean teaching Sam how to fix certain things.
But this was new, and it was obviously new because Sam is so surprised by it. Like Dean is usually it's Dean like fixes the car.
Fixing the car.
Sam just hands the tools over and like sits on the cooler.
Yeah, right.
And this time he's like, Sammy boy, come here. I'm gonna show you something. And like starts pointing out car things and vocabulary, and I don't remember any of it, but he's like, it's a carburetor, and this does this to that thing, and there's some cylinders and pistons. And I know so much about cars. We need to get that guy on.
We do.
Jack, right? Jack, yeah.
Yes.
Next time there's a car episode, we'll get him on. So anyway, and then he's teaching Sam these things, and Sam is like, okay, this is new, this is different. And Dean chalks it up to, listen, you're going to have to know these things for the future. And leaves it at that. Doesn't go into a whole, like, I'm going to die in 6 months, or, you know, you're going to be alone. Just says the future.
The future, because that's what I'm supposed to do. That's what big brothers are supposed to do. Yeah, It's not because I'm going to die. It's just because this is what I'm supposed to do. It was a great way to end the episode. Because Sam Sam takes the tools and starts tinkering with the car, and Dean sits down on the cooler and drinks a beer, and it's the way it should. Him. Yes, but that's the way it should be. So I want to say I was so relieved with this episode because I was like, scratch one off. Like one bad guy off, actually two bad guys, because killed off Gordon, obviously, but also Kubrick, who was following, Gordon's lead. So I was kind of like, yay. I mean, but Gordon was such a threat. Gordon was such a threat to them for many reasons, even from the very first time before the whole like Sam is dark thing.
Right.
And so the fact that he's dead, check that one off the list. So now we still have the FBI guy. No, who's it's the FBI guy.
We haven't seen him in a long time, but yeah,
since
the FBI guy
since the jail 2 episode. So FBI guy, got to get him off check him off the list. And but anyway, so I was just happy that I was like, check, done. That's one less person who's going to hurt our boys.
Right, yeah, because it's not just the FBI guy, it's the FBI.
It's the law, yeah. Yeah, it's the real law as opposed to like the supernatural law. It's actual.
And the demons, now it's like all of demonkind are after Sam because they want the crown of leading the army, which I don't think Sam, I don't know if Sam knows that yet. Like, I'm not sure how much Dean relayed. His conversation with Cassie or Carrie or whatever her name was.
Cassie, yeah, probably not. Probably not a lot. Yeah. Even though Sam did confide in Dean about the missing bullet, from the cult. Right. Yeah, and the fact that there's the mysterious, who holds Dean's contract, but that doesn't have anything to do with Sam.
It's not bad guys, yeah, but it is like, but the clock is ticking on Dean's life. So that's like a whole other obstacle.
Right.
So yeah, you're right. It is nice to check one obstacle off the list.
So we know that the way things were left with Bella obviously still has one more pop-up, at least, since the way things were left with her on this. We don't see Gordon again. Hopefully he doesn't get reincarnated with his head. So yeah, my question is, what's next then? If this was the big bad, this was one of the big bads. Yellow Eyes is gone, Gordon Walker is gone. So now are we going to shift back into the deal? Like, are we shifting back towards Dean's story now? Or are we going to shift into Sam's journey further into the dark side? Like, what's next? I don't know what's next. What's next?
Well, next is Supernatural Christmas, so I don't think anything story-wise is going to happen.
Oh, okay. So probably not. Probably
No.
not a whole lot of advancement in that storyline.
No.
Okay.
And this was aired around Christmas time, and I think that's super fun that they made a Christmas episode. Like so many, sitcoms do it all the time. Friends had like Thanksgiving and Christmas episodes every year.
Yes.
So why not? Why not throw a holiday theme episode in a...
Bring on the ugly sweater memes.
Yes, please.
And I don't think this is the only time they do that. I think there's at least one other Christmas
I think you're right.
episode.
I think you're right, but I can't remember when or what it is. But
we'll
I'm
just
excited
have to get through.
to
Yes,
watch
exactly.
it.
We just got to work our way through until we find the next one.
I know.
So
thanks everyone for tuning in. Please be sure to follow us, subscribe to us, rate us anywhere you can. Do so on podcast networks. A 5-star rating on Apple would be really, really helpful. We would greatly appreciate it if you did. If you like us. I mean, if you don't like us, just don't do anything at all. Just ignore.
You can tell us on social media that you didn't like us, and we'll do our best to fix what you didn't like. Please don't leave us.
And you can find us on social media at Salt and Burn This everywhere.
Yay! So Salt and Burn This Insta, Salt and Burn This Twitter, Salt and Burn This Facebook, Salt and Burn This TikTok.
I have a few up. I did a few.
Hey, I've loved your TikToks. I especially love the one that completes me, that completely outs me as a naive spirit. That one cracks me up so much.
It did me too. Thanks everyone. We will see you next week for Supernatural Christmas. Thanks.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.